Hello and welcome to today's lesson, which is factorising quadratics. So first of all, it might be worth just mentioning that there's a lot of different types of quadratics, and we're going to be focusing on one particular example today. And this is one where there's no number or coefficient in front of the x squared. So here, if you are currently looking to do a question which looks like this, then what you need to look at is single bracket factorisation. This is the one that we're going to be looking at today. There is A-level factorisation as well, and there is factorisation when you've got a number in front of that x squared, so here. But we're going to be focused on this one today. So, titling your notes, which is factorisation. So, first of all, we need to know what the word factorising means. So, factorising means to turn an expression into a product of expression. So basically what we're doing is we're putting these back into brackets. Notice here we're putting the brackets back in, here we're putting the brackets back in. So what we're doing here is we're trying to find factors of both of these numbers to put them as a multiple. Well, basically factorising means to put that bracket back in. Okay, so we're going to have a look now at a few questions here. So here I've got x plus 2, x plus 3, and if I work that out using expanding to brackets here, you can see that the solution to that is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 6. So here what we've got is this is our brackets, this is what we want, but we're going to be starting with this. So how do I get from this stage here to this stage here? So let's first of all, let's just have a go. If you want, you can pause now and expand these out. But I'm just going to release these and show you what they look like. So here I've got, let's just write a few of these down. So x plus 4, x plus 2, and that's equal to x squared plus 6x plus 8. Let's write down one more. Let's write down that negative one. X plus 8, x minus 3, and that's equal to x squared plus 5x minus 24. Now, what you might notice here is I've got to find a way of linking this side here with this side here. And what you've got to try and spot here without that is that if I think about this 2 and 3, so 2 times by 3 is equal to the 6 on the end, and 2 plus 3 is equal to that 5 in the middle. So I need something that times is together to make this 6 and adds together to make that 5 there. That's what I need. And it works exactly the same with this one. So if I think about 2 times by 4, that's equal to 8 at the end. So something that times is together to make this. And then 4 plus 2 is equal to 6. So it adds together to make this one here. Now, does it work with negatives as well? Well, let's have a check. So be careful with this. You do need to think about the ways I add this and multiply negatives. So 8 times by negative 3 is equal to minus 24. So yes, these two numbers times together to make that last number. And then 8 minus 3, well 8 minus 3 is equal to 5. So yes, they add, because what I haven't put in here is the fact that this is plus 8 and plus minus 3. So yes, I'm adding these together because plus 8 plus negative 3 is 5. So they times together to make 24 and add together to make 5. And as long as you start with that and as long as you understand that, then this becomes a little bit easier. So let's have a go at one of these questions now. So let's write down this one here. This is example 1. Example 1. So how can I factorise x squared plus 3x plus 2? So from what we spotted before, we need something that times is together to make 2 and adds together to make 3. Now, I always think it's worth writing down, if you're starting off with this, write down the multiples of this last number. So what are the multiples of 2? Well, the multiples of 2, always start with 1 and go through. So 1 times by 2, and then that's it. There's only 2 multiples of this. So I need something that times the 2 numbers, that times together to make 2, and add together to make 3. So in this case, there's only 2 numbers it can be, and that's x plus 1 and x plus 2. They times together to make 2, they add together to make 3. So let's have a look at another one here. Now they've already wrote the multiples there for you. So example 2, make sure you're getting this in your notes. Remember, the only way to do maths, the only way to learn maths is to do it. So here I've got x squared plus 11x plus 30. Now they've already wrote down the multiples, but I'm going to show you the best way to do that. So 30 here. So always go through, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, yes, times by 30. 1 always works. 2 goes in, 2 times 15. 3 does as well, 3 times 10. Does 4? No, it doesn't. 5 does, 5 times 6. And then when you get up to the number which matches the other side, we can stop. So 6 would be the next one, but I've already got 6, so I can stop there. So what I'm looking for, these are all the numbers that times together to make 30. But I also need a pair of numbers that add together to make 11. So let's have a look down here. Which ones of these add together to make 11? 30 plus 1 is 31, so no. 15 plus 2, no. 3 plus 10, no. So it's going to be 5 and 6. So it's going to be x plus 5 and x plus 6, like so. Brilliant. I'm going to get one more of these examples down. I'm just going to make one up for you. Example 3. So let's go x squared plus 10x plus 16. So with this one here, the first thing I would do here is I'd write down the multiples of 16. So I know something that times is together to make 16. 16 over here, so that's going to be 1 and 16. 2 and 8. 4 goes in as well, 4 times. So looking at this over here, which ones of these add together to make 10? So let's put an add on here just so we know. Well, the ones that add together to make 10 are 2 and 8. So it's going to be x plus 2 and x plus 8. Notice that this is the way I'm writing it down. X plus 2, x plus 8. If you just write 2 and 8, then that's not the answer. Remember, factorising means put it into brackets as an algebraic term. Okay, so there's 3 examples. Let's have a go at some harder ones. Now, what's going to make these harder? Same thing as always. The things that makes this harder is those negatives and negative numbers. So let's have a go at some of these ones here. So this one here now is example 4. So here I've got x squared minus 2x minus 24. So I need something that times is together to make negative 24 and adds together to make minus 2. So with this one here, the first thing to always do is do the multiples of this. So let's write this on the side. 24, and there's quite a lot of multiples of 24. So 1 and 24, that's fine. 2 and 12. 3 goes into it as well. 3 goes into it 8 times. 4 goes into it as well. How many times does 4 goes in? 4 goes in 6 times. 5 doesn't go in, and then 6, I'm back to that on the other side, so I can pause there. Now, we spoke about the fact that negatives make this harder. Now, there's a little tip that I'm going to give you here to always think about, and it's that if this last number is negative, then the symbols must be different. And if I do this over here, we know that a positive times by a positive number is a positive number. We know that a positive times by a negative number is equal to a negative number. We know a negative times by a positive is equal to a negative number. And we know that a negative times by a negative is equal to a positive number. So, if this last number here is negative, so here and here, we know that the symbols must be different. So if the last number is negative, the symbols must be different. If the last number is positive, the symbols must be the same, either both positive or both negative. Okay, so we're dealing with a last number which is negative, which means that my symbols must be different. So that means that one must be positive and one must be negative. Now we're trying to make negative 2. So I've got to find a way of having one positive and one negative to make negative 2. Well, 1 and minus 24, no. 2 minus 12 is minus 10. 12 minus 2 is 10, no. 3, 8, no. Because 3 minus 8 is minus 5. 8 minus 3 is 5. Now, 4 minus 6 is minus 2. Be careful not to get these jumbled up. 6 take away 4. Let's just put that here just so you can see. 6 and minus 4 is equal to positive 2, which does not work. But 4 minus 6 is equal to minus 2, which is what we want here. Okay? So with this one here, we know that our solutions are going to be equal to x plus 4 and x minus 6, because 4 minus 6 is minus 2. 4 times minus 6 is minus 24. Absolutely brilliant. So let's have a go at one more of these. So this one here is example 5. So here I've got x squared minus 5x plus 6. First thing I'm going to do is those multiples of that last number. So something that times together to make 6 and adds together to make minus 5. So here we've got 6. So it's going to be 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Stop there. Okay, because that's it. Got to 3. So because this last number is positive, I know that my symbols must be the same. Now, because this is negative, that means that they must both be negative. Okay? So which ones of these, both being negatives, gives me minus 5? Well, I think that's pretty obvious in this one. It must be minus 2, take away 3, which is minus 5. So here I end up with x minus 2 and x minus 3. Minus 2 times minus 3 is positive 6. Minus 2 take away 3 is minus 5. Brilliant. So, here are 5 questions. Pause now just to have a little go at these. I am going to go through these ones. There's going to be more questions in a second. But pause now and have a go at those just so you can check that you understand them. So mark those in green. Mark those in green. I am going to go through them. So if you have made a few mistakes on these, make sure you get them in your notes as well. So I'm going to go through all of these questions and I'm going to give you some more to have a go at the end. So here we've got x squared plus 6x plus 5. So I need something that times is together to make this last number, adds together to make this one here. So the things that times together to make 5, well actually there's only two things, 1 and 5. They're both positive, so which numbers add together to make 6? Well, it's just going to be 1 plus 5, isn't it? 1, 5. So it's going to be x plus 1, x plus 5. Perfect. Okay, so that's that first one done. Let's have a go at this next one. We've got a negative in this, which means it's a little bit harder. X squared minus 12x plus 35. So let's write down the factors of 35 first of all. So I need something that times is together to make 35, adds together to make minus 12. So 35 over here. So that's 1, 35. 2 doesn't go. 3 doesn't go. 4, hold on, does 3 go? I think 3 does go actually. No, it doesn't. 4 doesn't go. 5 does go. How many times does 5 go? 5 and times by 7. 6 doesn't go, but then we're back to 7, so we stop. So, notice that this is positive, which means that both numbers must be the same symbol, either both negative or both positive, going back to when we looked at this before. So, if these are positive symbols, then they're either both positive or both negative. Here, because this is negative, it means that both must be negative. So which way round do I need to have these to make minus 12? It's going to be minus 5, minus 7. Okay, minus 5 take away 7 is equal to minus 12. So it's going to be x minus 5, x minus 7. Doesn't matter which way round you have those. You could have minus x minus 7, x minus 5. So that's that one there. So the next one, x squared plus 5x minus 14. So we need something that times is together to make 14, adds together to make 5. Let's write down the multiples of this last number. So 1 and 14, 2 and 7, 3 doesn't go. Does 4 go? No. 5, no. 6, no. Back to 7, okay. So the thing we need to think about here is this last number is negative, which means that my symbols must be different. Just going back to this one here. So if the last number is negative, it's either positive times a negative or a negative times a positive. So which way round do I need to have these numbers? Which one's positive and negative to make positive 5? Well, 1 minus 14 is minus 13, so no. 14 minus 1 is going to be 13, so no. It's going to be these ones here. Which way round do I have it to make positive 5? Well, it's going to be 7 plus 7, positive 7, take away 2. Okay? Because 7 minus 2 is positive 5. If it was the other way round, 2 minus 7, that would be minus 5, which would be wrong. So in this case, we have x minus 2 and x plus 7. Like so. And that is how we do this one. So we're going to have a look at this one next now. So this one here, we've got x squared plus 6x plus 9. Factors of 9. 1 and 9. 2 doesn't go. 3 does go. 3 and 3. This is positive, so it means they both must be positive. So it must be x plus 3 and x plus 3. Now, if you got that, it's not wrong. Okay? There is another way we can write this. If we're timesing something by itself, another way to write this is x plus 3 all squared. Okay? X plus 3 all squared. If you wrote that, you are right. If you wrote that, well done for thinking about that going forward. And we've got this last little one. Let's do this down here. So, x squared minus 6x plus 9. We've already got the factors of 9 over here. which are 1 and 9, 3 and 3. If it's minus 6 and this is positive, it means they both must be negative. So it's minus 3, minus 3. It's very similar, to be honest. It's just that because this is minus 6, minus 3, take away another 3, is minus 6. So this one here is x minus 3, which is x minus 3 all squared. Okay, so got x minus 3. That's all those questions done. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put some questions up for you to have a little go at. Have a go, pause now and have a go at these next questions. Some harder ones there as well. 15 questions on the top and some really tricky ones down there at the bottom. Pause now, have a go at as many of these as you can. Okay, I'm going to pop these answers up, so mark these in green for me. Mark them in green. Amazing work if you got these bottom ones right. So thank you for watching Factorising Quadratics. Remember to make sure you have a go at these questions because the only way to learn maths is to do it, and have a wonderful day.